Yeah, this was one with another type of table that we could get. So here we're summarising the means by treatment and the sample ID. Just want to sort of reiterate some of these options that go into the proctabulate procedure. This F1 gives you the column width, so we're now saying we want a column width of 6, so we've got quite narrow columns because we might want to fit quite a lot on the table. This class statement gives the categorical effects we're going to be summarising by in the table. The var statement are the things that we're summarising, the actual sort of continuous variables, which here are signal and weight. The title statement, you just add that in and give your title. Here we've just got one title, but you could have a list of, I think, up to about 10 titles and footnotes to go under the table as well. The table statement is where you kind of give the structure of the table. So we've got along the rows, we're structuring it by treatments and by this, in this one, by the sample ID as well. So we're getting the means for each of these time point blocks. And then after a comma, then we have the columns are specified and the summary statistic. And we can use the label statement to give labels to each of the effects in the table. We can also add in a second variable to summarise, so the table's now quite busy, but we can easily do that in SAS. Whereas before our means were for each of the sample IDs, we could just summarise them across all the IDs for the treatments and end up with that. That's just for the means for the signal effect, the signal variable now. We could alternatively take the medians by, instead of using mean, using median there, and we'd change the title statement appropriately. We might want to not only sort of get the means, but get either the standard deviation or the standard error to go with that, so we can request more. And now we're doing this sort of nesting along the rows rather than the columns. So we've got our 3 summary statistics, which are before the comma, so that's sort of done by this treatment star, the 3 summary statistics with appropriate labels that we've put in. And then after the comma, it's just to say we're going to summarise signal and we're going to do it by the time category. So far we've just called the treatments A, B, C, D, but they actually will have names. So of course it's much more meaningful to put names in for the treatments. So we can do that by specifying what each of the letters refers to. So these are the actual names of the treatments, and we do that before we do the tabulate, but then within the tabulate procedure we add in a format statement which sort of refers to this, and then we get the names for each of our treatments, so the table becomes a lot more readable. So there's a plot procedure, there's also a G-plot procedure. Usually you'd want to use the G-plot procedure because it does more elegant graphs. In fact, there's lots of plotting procedures depending on what you want to do. This is just one of them. So that's what you want to do, a plot. Then you have a plot statement to define the plot. In this plot we're saying I want to plot the rate by the time effect, and we want this equals treat says I want to plot a separate kind of line for each treatment. So I've now got all the 8 treatments coming in here, and by using the format statement we had before, it tells us what each of the colours refers to at the bottom. So it gives us quite an acceptable plot fairly easily with a title, and this vref equals 0 gives us a line along the 0 value, which was seen as quite useful looking at this plot. Another thing I haven't shown here that is possible to do is you can customise each of these, the colours and the format used for each of these, the curves for each of the treatments. So I've got a dotted one here. I think this was probably seen as the control. It's disappeared a bit off the bottom, but the control treatment was put in dots here. So you can, lots of ways to customise the graphs.